That's my town. This is my second home. I lived here for 10 years. I love London. I actually recorded a couple of specials here before. When I lived here, I was broke. I had no fucking money. And about maybe like 12 years ago, I signed a contract for 5 comedy specials for £90,000 with the record label over here, which when you're broke, sounds like a really good fucking deal, right? I had no money and someone offered me £90,000. I was like, fuck yeah, for 5 comedy specials. But that is the worst deal in record history, 5 comedy specials for £90,000. Anyway, I was locked in and I recorded one and then I got offered a HBO special in America. And so I went back to my record label over here and I said, hey, here's the deal. I just got offered a big deal in America. What I'll do is I'll go over there, I'll do the special, then I'll come back and do the other 4 specials with you. And then my record label here went, oh, you can't do that. You're contracted to us. And I went, that's a shame. And then I got on a plane and I went to America. And then HBO said, you sorted that contract problem out, didn't you? And I went, I sure did. And then I did the HBO special. And then my record label here sued me for £200,000, which is like 300,000 American dollars, right? But it doesn't matter, because HBO paid me $50,000. So you gotta spend money to make money, you know. So I was a little bit in the hole. I'd spent a lot of that earlier money on drugs already. So now I'm poor and famous. See, everyone wants to be rich and famous, and Now, I'm gonna tell you a story. Now, this story happened maybe a year and a half ago. I got booked to do a private party with a very famous American singer. And I signed a contract to say that I would never say who booked me, how much I was paid, or who was at the party. But then I've just been telling people, and nothing's happened, so... So it's Mariah, Carey. Now, I get a phone call from my management one day and they say, Mariah Carey's a massive fan of yours. And I said, no, she's not. And they go, how do you know? I said, I don't know the woman. I've never met her, but I know this. There is no scenario where Mariah Carey finishes a concert, goes home, pours herself a bath, lights a few candles and goes, put on a bit of Jim Jefferies. And then sits there splashing around going, women are cunts. No. I said, she's not a fan. And so they ring back and they go, her fiance at the time, her fiance, James Packer, is a fan. Now, James Packer is a very famous Australian billionaire. And she wanted to purchase me for his 50th birthday as a gift, right? Already weird to be a human gift. But I guess that's what you buy billionaires. You can't buy them materialistic things because they can purchase whatever they want. You buy them other human beings doing tricks. And so they ring me up and they go $15,000, 15 minutes. You just got to perform at a dinner party. She lives half a mile away from you. Easy peasy. And I said to my manager, Alex, I said, Alex, that sounds fucking horrible. I'm not going to do that. And he rings back up 10 minutes later. $30,000. 15 minutes. And I said, Alex, I'm an artist. I never let money make decisions for me. Now, I think we all know where this is headed. They rang back, $60,000, 12 minutes. And I was like, fuck it, what's her address? Fuck it. So 3 weeks later, so for 3 weeks, I was just dreading this gig. And then 3 weeks later, it's like, all right, I show up at the house. I'm there, it's the middle of summer, I'm wearing a leather jacket and fucking t-shirt, I'm sweating my ass off. And I'm there with my manager, Alex, and someone, Mariah's assistant opens the door and goes, which one of you is Jim Jefferies? I'm like, yeah, the fucking career's crushing it, obviously. That's me. And she goes, we've been waiting for you. And she goes, you're not to be seen, you're a surprise. And I get into the house and she goes, ooh, take your shoes off. Mariah's one of those cunts. As soon as you enter your house, you gotta feel uncomfortable, take your fucking shoes off. I don't know if we have any of those Nazi fucking pricks in this room, but you've lost a lot of friends over this, you fucking low-life cunts. Anyway, so I take my shoes off. Now I'm the birthday surprise, so no one's to see me. So they secretly get me into the kitchen. So I go into the kitchen, I'm sitting there, and then they give me some rich people food, which is the same as poor people food, but it has truffles on it. And I'm sitting there eating my fucking truffly food. And I look at my manager, I'm like, I shouldn't be here. This is the worst idea I've ever had in my whole life. Oh, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do this. And he's like, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be great, you're gonna be great. At that stage, Eddie Murphy walks into the kitchen. Now, Eddie Murphy, I want this in film, is my childhood fucking hero. Delirious was such a big deal to me. And was the reason that I tell these big, long stories. Was the first comic I saw who told long stories. Anyway, I'm gonna do a terrible impersonation. But Eddie Murphy walks up to one of the catering people and he goes, I'm all dehydrated. I need a Gatorade or a Powerade or something with aid. I need electrolytes. My mouth is dry. And I'm just staring at him like. And then he points at me, he goes, why don't you do the TV show with the disabled boy? And I said, I do the TV show with the disabled boy. And he goes, I love that show. It's a fantastic show. You're masturbating off a little disabled boy in the Skype. What a great show that was. He goes, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm gonna do stand-up for the dinner party. And he went, there's no way that's gonna work out. And then he just fucked off. So I just break out into a fucking sweat right now, right? And then Mariah's assistant comes up to me and she goes, it's time. Now, let me paint a picture for you. There's 20 people in a garden sitting on long tables surrounded by tiki torches before tiki torches had racist connotations. They're all famous people. They do not know that there's any entertainment. Nor have I been announced. There is not a microphone. There is not a light. I'm walking out in my socks. I just look like a guy who's gotten onto the property and has a few things that he wants to say. See, the difference between stand-up comedy and a drunk guy giving opinions, that's it. That's it. So I walk out, and so Mariah Carey's sitting here, James Packer's sitting here, Eddie Murphy's sitting here, Al Pacino's sitting here, Warren Beatty's sitting here, and it gets less and less famous as we go along. So I walk out, I've never done a birthday party before, so I just treat it like a kid's birthday party. So I walk up to a 50-year-old man, and I go, hey, hey! Happy birthday! And he went, who are you? And I went, who am I? I'm Jim Jefferies, your favorite comedian. And he goes, I don't know you. And I pointed at Mariah and I said, Mariah? And Mariah's on like 7 Xanax of the fucking day. And she just looks over at him and goes, remember we watched him on the computer doing something? It was very clear that they were towards the end of their relationship because he was just like, why do you talk? And I went, fuck it. I'll tell some jokes anyway, shall I? At that stage, Leonardo DiCaprio walks in with 3 of the hottest chicks I've ever seen in my fucking life. He has a beard because he just did that movie where he had sex with a bear. I haven't seen it. He walks up, he stands next to me. Everyone greets him like he's Norm from Cheers, right? Somehow this cunt gets to keep his shoes on. And he just chats to the table for 3 minutes. So for 3 minutes, I'm standing next to Leonardo DiCaprio like this. At the 3-minute mark, he doesn't even look at me. He just points at me and he goes, "What's all this about?" And Warren Beatty went, "We don't know." And then Leonardo DiCaprio took the women over and sat on some garden furniture, and I was like, fuck it. I just got to do 12 minutes. No one says that anyone has to laugh. I just got to fucking talk, right? So I just started phoning in some fucking jokes. I just looked at him and went, "There's a turtle at my kid's school," and I told the turtle routine, and I'm just fucking walking around telling the fucking turtle routine. James Packer is getting angrier and angrier, just like, fucking... At one stage, he says to Mariah Carey at the same volume that I'm talking next to him, he says, "Why did you think I'd enjoy this?" Right? And I'm like, "Just keep smiling, Jim. Keep a song in your heart and they can't hurt you." So I keep going, and he's getting angrier and angrier. And he just goes like this. "Gun control." And I said, "Yes! I'm the gun control guy." And he goes, "I love that bit. Do that bit." And I said, "I haven't performed that in over a year. I really don't know how it goes." And he went, "Just fucking do it." And I went, "Okay." So I started doing the gun control thing. So I'm like running across the lawn to do the fucking safe thing. Now, that routine is 16.5 minutes long. I got through it in 8 minutes. Because it turns out it's shorter without laughter. I did get a laugh, though. I got a laugh from James Packer. And like the halfway moment during the routine, he just gave this like Australian billionaire gluttural fucking laugh. He just went, "Ha!" Now this laugh is so distinctive to my Australian ear that if I was in the outback and I heard it, I'd become like Steve Irwin. I'd be like, "Oh, that's the Australian billionaire." And then he just went, and because it was his birthday, it was like a moment in a medieval film where the king started laughing and the rest of the courtyard was like, "The king is amused." And they all started laughing a little bit. And all of a sudden, I wasn't having a good gig, but I was getting away with it. So I finished up the show, and then I did a routine that was on my last special about how I'm a 5 in the looks department, but because I'm on TV, I had to fuck 6s and 7s. But because I'm an alcoholic, I fuck 4s and 3s. So I did that routine, then afterwards I'm standing around with my manager, Alex, and we're drinking, and Al Pacino and Warren Beatty walk up to us, and they're drunk as fuck, or they're just old. And Al Pacino walks up to me, and this is the exact words he says. He went, "Oh, couple of 5s are talking to each other." And I forgot my routine. I'm like, "Sorry?" And he goes, "I'm a 5. You're also a 5. And then I remembered, I went, oh, well, you know, I get to fuck 6s and 7s because I'm on the TV. I bet you're fucking crazy 9s and 10s, right? And he grabs one of the girls with Leo and he drags her in and he goes, you're right. And then he pushed her away, and then Harvey Weinstein just tackled her and dragged her into the bushes. And then he goes like this, he goes, oh, I like what you do. You tell stories. Nobody tells stories anymore. You tell a story, I'm enjoying myself. Oh, I'm enjoying myself. But then you get distracted and go on a tangent, and I think, oh no, I'll never hear the end of this tale. But then you come back to the story, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He remembered the whole time. And then he kept talking for like 10 minutes, and like the 10-minute mark, I hadn't said a word. And he literally said, he goes, you haven't said anything. Am I talking too much? And I said, Mr. Pacino, this is one of the greatest moments in my life. Please keep talking till I come. And he said, a challenge. And then he said to me, he goes, do you act? You know, Al Pacino says, do you act? And I'm like, I've acted. I'm not an actor, I'm a comedian. And he goes, oh, I know a lot about acting. And I was like, yeah, you do. And he's like, you're gonna be a great actor, a great actor. And I'm like a fat chick being hit on. I'm like, And then he went, no, fuck it, don't act. You're better than us. Acting's for idiots like me and him. And he points at Warren Beatty, and Warren Beatty at this stage is looking at a moth going around a tiki torch, like. He goes, you're better than us. You tell stories. You're a director. And I'm like, all right. He's like, say it for me. Say, I'm a director. And so I went, I'm a director. And he went, say it again. And I went, I'm a director. And he goes, one more time. But this time, I need more passion from you, George Jamison. And so I just got the fever and I went, I'm a director. And everyone at the party stopped what the fuck they were doing and they all stared at me and I went, I don't know what's going on now. Warren Beatty's all confused. He leans over and goes, what do you direct? And you know when you're a kid, like in your teens, you just lie all the time? But you don't really lie past 30, you lie to get yourself out of trouble. Lies like, I don't know that girl, I was somewhere else, right? I just did one of those like teenage lies. He goes, what do you direct? And I said, I've directed 2 independent films and I have a big budget film in the works with Warner Brothers. And then Warren Beatty looks at me and goes, how can we stay in touch? And I just went, I'm fucking lying, man. And before I could say anything else, my manager saw that I was drowning in this conversation. He swooped in so Hollywood. He just came in and he goes, I love this. Jim Jefferies, Warren Beatty, you're gonna make a lot of great films together. Here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna take my number, Warren, I'm gonna take yours, we're gonna stay in touch. And they start swapping numbers, and I'm staying up to the side like, I don't know what the fuck this is. And before I can say anything stupid, Alex puts his arm around me and drags me out of the party, and I'm like, I don't know what just happened, Alex. I don't know what just happened. And he turned to me and went, "You're gonna have to learn how to direct."